My name is Tanya Curry, and this is this week's Acumen Media Report. It's entitled The Art of the Steal, A Week with Trump and Other Horror Stories. Trump stomped over my timeline like a greedy orange hippo. Across the planet this week, he made jaws drop and had people on their feet. Fear and loathing, love and hate rose with them. He certainly took over South Africa's social media, and when I filtered his name through the machine this morning internationally, I assumed brace position as we landed on 1.3 million articles in 7 days. Yes, indeed, Trumpette is this week's headline hogger. I'm not surprised at the amount of press because there was not a single country that wasn't impacted by the Trump inauguration in some way. Hurriedly, he exited the World Health Organization. The impact on our continent alone was eye-watering. He said he's leaving the Paris Accord because he wants to
drill, baby, drill.
He also said he'd annex Greenland. The Danish president came out saying, "Let me use words that Trump will understand," and proceeded to say,
Mr. Trump,
F off. That was funny. Thumper Trumper also said that decades ago the USA had gifted the Panama Canal to Panama. He went on to explain that during the course of history, Panama had given more and more of the strategic waterway to China. He said that if the USA wanted to give it to China, they would have, so now he's taking it back. I was flabbergasted, but only for a little while, because after chatting to a friend who said that this was a classic art of the deal move that Trump has perfected. He's not going to take the Panama Canal. He wants Panama to poop its pants and lower the tariff. He doesn't want to steal Greenland. He wants to use the strategic positioning of the continent and the environment to escalate trade. He's not really leaving the World Health Organization. He wants them to remove some outrageous clause that says if there's another pandemic, they get to control a myriad of functions in affected countries. This is how he negotiates, like a stray nuke that actually has a loving home. He's mental, this guy. The art of the steal. Let me give you a quick walkthrough of the inauguration. Melania looked like Mary Poppins. I think her hat served its purpose when Trump couldn't get his creepy lips near her. The audience was filled with billionaires and megalomaniacs. Crooked Hillary burst into laughter as Trump officially renamed Gulf of Mexico to Gulf of America. Biden had a fat grin on his face. He was so happy to do a... That's all, folks. And then there was the 6'9" Baron, the gormless youngest Trump son. It looked like it was painful for him to smile. One meme said that clinical depression is sold separately. That was funny. Trumpy Wumpy didn't stop there. He told us there were only two genders, male and female, to which the entire crowd leapt to its feet. Was this non-binary stuff so big in America that it warranted voting for the tangerine? He declared a state of emergency at the Mexican border and sent troops to stop the influx of criminals, because this is how he refers to foreign nationals. He removed the American birthright. You know that little thing that says, where you are born determines your nationality. Yes, it's gone.
That's a big one.
He removed all Spanish translations from the official websites for the presidency in probably the worst case of xenophobia I've seen to date. But to be fair, they do have an immigration problem, and so do we. I wish we had deployed troops to stop the influx of foreigners into South Africa a long time ago. And if we can deport those that are illegal, that would be great. Thanks. A story that I found both hilarious and infuriating was this nonsense of banning TikTok. Apparently, Biden did that. Do you think Biden even knows what a TikTok is? Placeholders went up on the platform saying, oops, we don't operate in your country. And then the next day, when Trump was inaugurated, there was a message saying, thanks, Donnie, we're back online. According to the art of the steal, he only now wants 50% of TikTok. Do you see it? Time will tell. Speaking of time, during the 24-hour hiatus, TikTok suddenly cared about what you said. And any post that carried hashtag Free Palestine was censored. The Tango Man signed so many orders and acts that Donald's pen wanted to resign. During his sign-in, feed-in frenzy, one of the journalists asked a question about
Aren't they a
Spain.
BRICS nation?
Trumpet asked if the
They're a
journo knew
BRICS
that
nation,
Spain was
Spain.
part of
You know what a
BRICS.
BRICS nation is?
The journo nodded.
You'll figure it
And
out.
Trump kept banging on about how it is important to consider BRICS as a whole before one spoke to Spain directly. That was funny. In his inauguration speech, Trump told the world that he was ordained by God after surviving that earshot
great
from me.
again.
Many pointed out that he didn't put his hand on the Bible during the swearing ceremony, but that wasn't his biggest run-in with religion. He attended a religious mass where the priest did not hold back. She told Trump that he had instilled the fear into the LGBT community, and would he please reconsider? He didn't, but it was entertaining. Trump also pardoned all 1,600 insurrectionists, amongst them a murderer that had been given 20 years. When questioned about why he pardoned a hardened criminal, he said he'd look into that, but that there were far worse Mexican people wandering the streets. Laugh? I nearly did. I suppose we have to talk about Trump's bromance and YMCA dancer Elon. Elon also made himself an instant meme when Trump announced that they were going to put an American flag on Mars. I wish they'd both take a long trip, don't you? And yes, Muscat did get up on stage and give a Nazi salute. Twice. But don't worry, Netanyahu said it was all right, and that guy can tell a Nazi from a mile off. Talking about Israel-Palestine, the ceasefire was agreed between Hamas and Israel, and the Gazans now go home to rummage through the rubble to set free their dead from the weight of Israel's bombardment. A completely new war has started in the West Bank. All chaos broke loose. You'll remember the war is about Hamas and the hostages, right? While in the annexed West Bank there is no Hamas and there are no hostages, and this has now been interpreted by Netanyahu as open season. Demolition vehicles tore into Jenin and other parts of the West Bank as if it were October the 8th all over again. It was never about Hamas. It was never about the hostages. Talking of hostages, did you see the release of the first 3 women by Hamas? They were given Gaza goodie bags. Most times, fact is stranger than fiction. They were also escorted by hundreds of Hamas soldiers. For each soldier that Israel blew to pieces, another one stood up. That was the message of a nation who fears no death. Free Palestine. I knew Trump was going to take over my column, but now I'm left with no space to tell you what happened here at home. The king is having wedding woes, and there's a massive fuel shortage at the airport. The 370 Rand grant is being axed. There were 1,500 deaths recorded on the roads this holiday season. There are more foreigners in our prisons than locals. Why are we still housing them? Can you call the tangerine, please? It's season 421 of the Senzo Meyiwe trial that started up again this week. And if we are to believe the media, the Zama-Zamas at Stilfontein are headed up by an oak called Tiger. Tiger, tiger, shining bright in the deepest hole in sight. I don't buy the story at all, but if you're interested, he apparently bought his way out and evaded arrest, and now he's disappeared. And what is happening in our legal fraternity? Apart from the disgusting predator Mbenenge and the horrific content we have to endure on our television screens, why on earth is the sexual harassment being streamed live? Shouldn't there be some serious age restrictions in place? Is it to humiliate Mengo, the secretary, as much as they possibly can? It certainly feels like that. We saw the resignation of legal mind Jeremy Gauntlett because of claims of sexual harassment. And still on the topic of judges, remember the judge who was so drunk he drove into a wall? Matota, yes, him. He tried to have his case overturned. It was dismissed, but I feel like the actual case happened in 1485. Seems like we love long-winded court cases in South Africa. Abusing the court system with lengthy rebuttals should really be a crime. And a lead into the most revolting crime this week. A Randburg man was caught with 10 million images of child pornography. Surely that's not one man but a syndicate. What is the full story? We have to stop this plague. Smoke them out. I could tell you about the 100 billion rand transformation fund bill and that Itala Bank is in serious trouble, or that ACE's secretary lost her appeal, or even how Kenny Kunene had a public spat. And I could tell you that inflation is on the rise, but I've run out of words. You've had your first real week back at work. So let's agree that we all deserve a news-free weekend and leave it at that. I'm Tonya Curry, and thank you for scratching the surface with me and Acumen Media.